Traveling through Nepal 2 weeks after a devastating earthquake shook the country on April 25th, what I saw was chilling scenes of destruction everywhere. The scenic landscapes of this popular tourist destination stood in stark contrast to the horrific images of broken buildings, flattened villages, and displaced people. As I reached Sindhupalchowk, one of the worst hit areas in rural Nepal, there were hundreds of families who lost their homes and had been without shelter for weeks. I moved through crowds and made my way through the rubble. Everyone I spoke to had similar stories to tell of losing everything they had. People were desperate because they had not received any help from the government.
क्या उम्मीद है? अभी तक तो गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ भी प्रॉमिस किया नहीं है, पर जो भी एनजीओ है ना, एनजीओ आईएनजीओ इन लोगों ने जो सपोर्ट हेल्प दिया है, बस उसी में आज तक कुछ भी नहीं है। स्कूल खोला नहीं है, स्कूल चालू होगा तो फिर स्कूल जाएगा, मालूम नहीं कब से खुलेगा। और घर बनाने के लिए किसी के साथ भी कुछ भी नहीं है, पैसा भी नहीं है, और जितना भी खाने के लिए जितना भी बचा हुआ था खाना, वो भी सब कुछ उधर ही नीचे ही पड़ गया है।
अभी क्या हो गया बोले तो इधर सब इधर कुछ भी नहीं रहा, इधर सबका घर जा चुका है। ये जो ये पक्की घर होता है ना, ऐसा ये कुछ इधर खड़ा है। अभी तो हम इधर छोटा सा टेंट बना के बैठा है, सब लोग उधर ही बैठता है।
टेंट किधर से मिला आपको?
टेंट किधर से मिला नहीं, हम लोग खुद बनाए हैं। किधर से मिला, इधर से मिला, वो कुछ बाद में खुद बनाया, खुद खरीदा है।
As children played in the ruins, villagers were trying to clear the rubble and make temporary shelters with tin and plastic sheets. Their big fear was they would still be homeless when the rainy season starts. NGOs were distributing tarpaulins for the affected families, and that was the only relief effort present there.
This is an aid distribution point at Shwale village in Sindhupalchowk district. We were told that out of the 7,700 people who have died, more than 3,000 are from this district. More than 50,000 people are living under the open sky since last 2 weeks. What you can see in the background is Plan International, an NGO, is distributing temporary tents and tarpaulin to these families.
The far-flung villages were the worst affected because access to these areas is difficult. Many roads were cut off due to landslides triggered by the earthquake. I passed UN World Food Programme trucks packing sacks of rice bound for Kavre, another heavily affected district. These poor families were living in the open air and had been surviving on aid food packets. The situation was as bad in the cities. In Nepal's capital Kathmandu, tents had sprung up everywhere. After the second quake battered Nepal on May 12th, hundreds of buildings had collapsed. People had left their homes to live outdoors. In Bhaktapur, I found many residential areas that had been completely destroyed, and families had fled to government-run relief camps. In one deserted building, I stumbled upon an old woman who had decided not to leave. This is a sample of the scale of destruction left behind by the earthquake. In this area, we have found at least dozens of residential complexes like this, which has been completely damaged. I'm standing in front of a temporary shelter in Bhaktapur, almost 17 kilometers from Kathmandu. In the backdrop, you can see damaged houses. Most of these people have been living there, and they say now they can't go back home.
हमारा घर तो छत तो बहुत सब गिरा हुआ है, इसीलिए ये बाहर में बैठना पड़ा। अब क्या करूं भाई, घर में बैठना हुआ तो अच्छा हुआ, अब घर को छाना तो नहीं हुआ, इसीलिए तो बैठने के लिए छाना चला गया। अब बैठने के लिए नहीं है, इसीलिए बाहर बैठना पड़ा है।
आपको अभी घर वापस जाने का है ना? कब जा सकते हैं, कुछ मालूम है? किसी ने कुछ बताया?
नहीं, क्रैक है, क्रैक।
The killer quake had also damaged the country's centuries-old heritage sites and temples. Many of the UNESCO's World Heritage Sites in Kathmandu's Darbar Square lay in ruins. Military personnel was standing guard to protect the valuable artifacts from being stolen. Far away in the Himalayan foothills, the aftermath of the earthquake had also taken its toll. I flew to Lukla, a popular trekking village close to the Mount Everest base camp. Once a trekker's paradise, the place looked deserted. After the avalanche in the Himalayas, tourists have stopped coming, leaving the Sherpa guides jobless. The local residents are living in tents and are left with nothing to fall back on. Even as the government and international aid agencies are ramping up relief and reconstruction, it will take years for Nepal to recover. The grit and resilience of its people will be put to test as they begin to rebuild their country. Anjana Shankar for Gulf News.